put the.
Okay, good. So now the call is being recorded. Can you see and hear me well?
Yeah, I see you very well.
Okay, great. So we can now get started. From here starts the speaking test. This is the speaking mock test of the International English Language Testing System taking place online in Ras IELTS Academy. The candidate is Ibrahim Yunus. The candidate number is 014325. The examiner is Mehrnoush Shafi, the examiner number 443533. Good evening, my name is Mehrnoush Shafi. Would you please tell me your full name?
My name is Ibrahim Abdulmati Yunus.
What can I call you?
Ibrahim.
Sure. Can I see your identification, please?
Okay, minute, please, minute. This is my identification.
Thank you very much. Great. We can now get started with the first part of the exam. In the first part, I will ask you some personal questions. First, I'd like to ask about your family. Do you have a big family?
Yes, I have a big family from 4 sisters and 3 brothers. I am the last one in the family. Yeah, I'm the smallest one, and I have my brother. I have 3 brothers and 4 sisters. Yeah.
Thank you. How often do you see your family members?
Every day. I see my family every day because I live in my family house. Yeah. I live in Saudi Arabia and I live in family house in Saudi Arabia.
What is your special moment with your family?
Special moment when we are hanging out with my family and go to a place called Ogda in Hail in Saudi Arabia. This place in Ogda is a special place. There is a mountain and there is a lot of we called it rented house, like called in Arabic.
Now let's move on and talk about food. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food is kapsa. I love kapsa very much. Yeah, because kapsa is a traditional food here in Saudi Arabia. Also, maybe I love yeah, just kapsa. I love kapsa. And
what kinds of restaurants do you like to eat out at?
I love the bake. I love the bake. If you know the bake, I love the bake. It's a very famous restaurant here in Saudi Arabia. Al Bake. It's open now in my place. It's open early in my place, and I love Al Bake very much because
Thank you. Now let's talk about your hobbies. What is your hobby?
My hobbies? I don't have any hobbies. I just writing. I love to write. I love to write, just write, and I don't have very much hobbies. Yeah.
Do you think that hobbies should be relaxing or should they be exciting?
exciting. You should be exciting hobbies. I think if if I want to enjoy the hobby, I should be exciting in the hobby. I go to with my friends and watching movies and yeah, like this should be exciting. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now we can move on to the second part of the exam. So in the second part, Ibrahim, I will give you a card with a topic and you should talk about this topic for 2 minutes. Before that, you have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes to help you if you wish. Do you understand?
Understand you. Okay.
Perfect. So now you can take a paper and a pencil to make notes. And I'm sharing my screen with you so that you can see the cue card. So you can just let me know if you see the cue card. Can you see it now?
Describe a course you have done that you find useful. You should say what you learned, what you enjoyed about the course, what you did not enjoy, and explain why it's useful to you. Okay.
So you should describe a course you have done that you found useful. Now you have 1 minute to think about this topic and make notes, and I will let you know once your 1 minute time is over. So you can start thinking now. All right, now your 1 minute is over and you may talk about this topic for 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes start now.
Talk about now.
Yes, please, your time has started.
Okay. The course I enjoy in it, it's the English course. I take it to last year. I very I love the course because I learn a new language and here the course here in Saudi Arabia in Hile. I take it in the British Saudi Center. Okay. I enjoy the course. I make new friends in this course, and yeah. What things I don't like it about this course? The teacher, the instructor is taught in Arabic sometimes, so I don't like this way he talk about it. Yeah, because I want to learn a new language. I want to learn speak with someone speak fluently in this language. So I don't like to speak with someone is Arabic like me, because it's not native. It's not native.
Okay, do you want to add more information?
Nothing.
Okay. Now we can move on to the third part of the exam. So I stop sharing the screen. In the second part, you described a course that you have done that you found useful. Now in part 3, I would like to ask you some questions related to this topic. First, let's consider homework. Do you think that it's important that children are given homework?
I think so. I think, yeah. I think the student should be homework, because if you don't take homework, how to study? How you want to study? How you want to progress the studying? Progress the studying. How to be? If you don't take the homework, you don't study. To be honest,
Okay.
you don't
And
study.
how much homework do you think they should be given per day?
I think one homework for one lesson, it's enough. It's enough. One homework for a lesson, it's enough. And yeah.
Why do you think so?
One homework for one lesson, to know about the lesson, to know about the lesson, and to increase the knowledge about the lesson.
Okay, and now let's talk about the relationship between education and work. How important is it to have a university education to get a job in your country?
Please again.
How important is it to have a university education to get a job in your country?
You mean what you mean? You mean what's the relationship between the job and the study in my country?
I can repeat the question. How important is it to have a university education to get a job in your country?
How important?
Do you think it's important to have studied at university when you want to get a job?
Okay. I think should be high education from the middle school, from the primary school, from the high school. We should be a high education, and after that you can make university and learn language with make university and learn people in that university. But
Thank you very much.
But without.
Great. So now this is the end of the speaking test. Now you can just relax, and I'll take 1 minute to add up your score, and then I give you the feedback, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'm right here in the call. I just mute myself for 1 minute. Pardon? Were you saying something?
This recording, because I want to feedback myself also.
Yes, the call is being recorded, so you can watch the video later. You will get the recorded file.
Thank you.
Good. So in 1 minute, I give you the feedback, and you just need to be patient for just 1 minute.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now let's see what you've done. But before I get started with your score in each criteria and your overall band score, Ibrahim, I just want to give you a general idea of your performance in the different parts and what you're expected to do on exam day, the structure that you should follow, and then we can talk about your score. So first, to start with part 1. As you may know, part 1 in IELTS speaking is about short questions and short answers. This means that you will be asked some questions in different topics in the first part, to which you should give short answers. But by short answer, I don't mean one word or one sentence answers. Normally, the length of your answer in part 1 should be 2 to 3 sentences. That's what you need. And the most important thing in the first part is to provide explanation to your answers. You shouldn't give very short answers with no explanation. There should always be a because or so, some details about your answer, but not too long. For example, if I ask you, I say, do you have a big house? You can say, yes, I do. I have a spacious apartment where I sometimes invite my friends or some family members to have a meal together. Besides, we tend to watch movies and enjoy the time being together. So that's a good answer in part 1, because I said, yes, I have a big house. Then I explained a little about that and gave an example. So this is what you do. Your answer, explanation, example. You don't have to say for example or for instance, but normally you can just, give an answer, giving more details about your answer. So this is about part 1. Explanation is important, but not very long answers. In the second part, the most important thing, Ibrahim, is to talk for the 2 minutes. You should make sure to not to stop before the examiner stops you. So just talk until the examiner says, yes, your time is over, you have covered your 2-minute time. But you, in the second part, only talk for 1 minute and 20 seconds. That was the problem. So what can you do in order to focus your 2-minute time? For example, you start talking about the topic, you talk about all the bullet points, and you still have time, the examiner is looking at you, and you don't have anything else to say. What you can do, the first thing, is to give more explanation about the same bullet points. Like you give extra explanation, extra information about what you had already mentioned. Or you start talking about another course, another experience. For example, your cue card was talk about a course that you have taken, which you found useful. You talk about it for 1 minute and then you have nothing else to say. Then you start talking about another course. You say, and I remember there was another course I took a few years ago, which was really practical. And then you keep talking about that. The third thing you can do is to just fake your answer. Lie. There is no problem with lying on exam day in IELTS speaking. So when you think that you run out of ideas, you don't have information, you don't have any vocabulary about the given topic, you can simply fake your answer. For example, you don't remember a course you have taken, you talk about a course that somebody else took, which was really useful, as if it was your course. You just tell somebody else's story as your story. This is also a good idea, faking your answer. Just to give you an example, you can fake your answer in any part 1, 2, or 3. For example, suppose in part 1, I ask you, what do you do to focus on reading? Maybe you understand the question, but you don't have good vocabulary about reading or focusing. But you definitely do have good vocabulary in other topics, for example, eating. So you can just fake your answer and link the given question to a topic that you have better knowledge or vocabulary in. For example, this is how I answer this question. I'm lying. This is actually not my idea, but I'm just saying that because I want to use my vocabulary in other topics. I say, well, to be honest, in order to concentrate better on reading, I should eat well. This is because when I eat in moderation and maintain a balanced diet, my brain function boosts and I can focus a lot better. So that's a good answer in part 1, even though it was not actually what I think and what I do to concentrate on reading. I just faked my answer. You can do the same thing in part 1, 2, or 3. Now to talk about the third part. Part 3, Ibrahim, is about longer questions and longer answers compared to part 1. This means that you should give longer answers using more vocabulary, more structures, more fillers and boosters. So there is no specific length to your answers. You should just give longer answers. That's all. You should give more details, more explanation. Your answers in part 3 were a bit too short, or you just repeated the same idea. What can you do not to repeat, to avoid all these self-repetitions? You can fake your answer. You can just say something that you don't really believe, but you say it because you want to make it up. This can help you because it happens a lot. In part 3, many questions may sound very similar and you're like, I already answered this question. No problem. If you answered it, then make another story and talk about it. What matters to the examiner is your topic development. And in part 3, the examiner may interrupt you to ask you more questions, may challenge you, because part 3 is more like a discussion. Now to start with the first criteria, which is your fluency and coherence. In fluency and coherence, first of all, your topic development and how you follow the structure is important. As I mentioned, your answers in part 1, they were a bit too long. In the second part, you didn't cover your 2-minute time, and in part 3, your answers were too short, or you just repeated the same idea, and you didn't understand one question, so your answer was irrelevant to that. That's the problem with topic development that you should work on. Other than that, but now you know the structure. You know the structure of the test, that's what you should do in part 1, 2, and 3, and you can get more practice to cover that. Other than that, in fluency and coherence, you had some pauses, self-repetition, and self-correction. Pauses are like when you say all the time, or you repeat the same idea. You say something, you don't finish your sentence, you keep correcting yourself. So if you have all these things, you cannot maintain a good flow of a speech. You wouldn't sound fluent. And you had the pauses, self-repetition, and self-correction. What you can do to reduce all these is to, first of all, widen your vocabulary range, widen your grammatical structures, practice more. You just need a lot more practice. Watch videos about speaking mock tests or about speaking questions and answers to get some ideas, because another problem you had was that you didn't have ideas to talk about, or to fake your answer, apply their strategy. And the last thing is about your connectives and discourse markers. If you only use very simple connectives like and, so, but, because, you cannot get more than a 5 in your fluency and coherence. So you just need to use more connectives. For example, besides, moreover, in addition, furthermore, however, on one hand, on the other hand. So there are many conjunctions that you can use if you want to get a higher score. So because of all the things I mentioned, you got a 4 in your fluency and coherence. Now let's talk about the second criteria, which is your vocabulary, lexical resource. In your vocabulary, you got a 5 because you know how to talk about familiar topics, but when the question is a little bit difficult or hard to understand, you find it, challenging to give an answer to the question. So in order to get a higher score, you need to use more vocabulary. And to get a 7 and above in vocabulary, you should use some idioms, collocations. Also, another reason why you got a 5 is because you did not paraphrase well. In IELTS speaking, you should use some direct synonyms to paraphrase the examiner's question. Like if I say, do you like your house? You say, I love my apartment. You don't say like house. You don't repeat. You use some synonyms. This is called paraphrasing, and it matters. And also you can use more fillers and boosters. For example, you can say, well, as I remember, if my memory helps, I'm a big fan of to talk about like, dislike, past memories, everything. So you can use them to fill up the gaps and buy yourself some time to think of the next idea. Other than that, in your grammatical range and accuracy, in your grammar, you got another 5 because even though you used some complex structures like subordinate clauses or conditional sentence, it was very limited. And you were mostly using simple structures. By simple, I mean one clause sentences, when you repeat very simple sentences. If you want to get a 6, you should use a mix of simple and complex. And if you use a range of complex, you can get a 7, but now you are a 5. That's the first reason. If you want to know what these complex structures are, there is a video about them on our YouTube channel. Make sure to watch it. It helps you a lot. And I will ask my colleague to send you the link to this video. You can watch the video. And another problem you have, Ibrahim, is your mistakes. If you keep making grammatical mistakes, even though you are using complex structures, you will not get a high score because you make mistakes. You cannot speak error-free. So you just need to reduce your problems and errors. For example, you had a lot, like from 4 sisters and 3 brothers. No, in my family, I have 3 sisters and like 4 sisters and 3 brothers. When we hanging out, when we hang out, I should be exciting into a hobby. I should be excited about a hobby. I should be interested in a hobby. The course I enjoy in it is, the course I enjoy is, and you had a lot of other mistakes with the grammar. So you need to work on your grammar first to make it correct, and then add more, a better variety to that. And finally, in your pronunciation, you got another 5 because first of all, as I said, you had pauses. When you have a lot of pauses, you cannot maintain a good rhythm, a good intonation. And you also need to work a bit more on your word stress or on your sentence stress. Your speaking is a bit flat when you're speaking to the examiner. What you can do is to keep listening to podcasts. You can listen to English movies or podcasts and then pause and repeat after that. This helps you a lot with your listening, pronunciation, and intonation. You need that. So just to wrap up, your overall band score today would be a 5. In order to get a 6.5, first of all, you need to work a bit on your own English, your grammar, your vocabulary range, your connectives, and learn some strategies. That's what you need, but you have time. So you just need to get practice and good structures. Now, do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. Thank you. No questions.
Okay, my pleasure. Now that you're saying that you have 1 year and you need a 6.5, what I can recommend you is not to take any more speaking tests for now. Just get some practice. The speaking course can help you a lot because you need to learn the strategies, vocabulary, grammar, connectives, and boosters. That's what you need. So this course can help you a lot. That's what I recommend you. I will ask my colleague to send you some more information about that. You can read the details and decide if you want to take it, because that would be a great help to you. Now, if you have no questions or doubts, then we can say goodbye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.